as you know, that's been coming out. And one in particular, you know, is the death of Mac Miller. He died in September. And we were kind of just waiting around for the autopsy report to come out. And today we all pretty much woke up to, you know, the news that the autopsy report came out. And here's his actual cause of death. First and foremost, they're ruling this an accidental overdose. They're saying the drug cocktail that he actually took was alcohol, cocaine, and fentanyl. Now, we know what alcohol and cocaine are. As you look on Google Trends, everybody's pretty much asking the question, what is fentanyl? And I didn't even know what it was. Yeah. You know, I've heard people talked about it before, but it's pretty much come to my understanding that it's the same thing that Prince actually overdosed from. It's a synthetic opiate, you know, so you put it in the class of whatever you want, opioids, and pretty much is said to be 30 times more powerful than heroin. You know what I mean? Or even more, some people would even say. And, you know, it pretty much came out, you know, back in the 60s to help people with chronic pain and whatnot. But now it's finding its way, you know, in the hands of, you know, youngsters around, 100 times more potent than heroin. You know what I mean? That's what it says on the official article on fentanyl. Sam, man, what is your thoughts on the Schedule II drug fentanyl being found in Mac Miller's system? How did he get this? I mean, well, it's a drug that's been known to be the cause of death in a lot of our Hollywood celebrities, music celebrities, especially in within our youth. In the hip hop community, we've seen a number of people die from fentanyl use, and we've seen people dying from lean and overdosing from that, which we initially thought and suspected this may have been the cause of death from. But this combination is insane. Now, he did a 2013 interview with Complex, and he talked about his dependency about lean. I'll read a little bit of that and then get back into my 1-2. This is quote, Mac Miller: "I was not happy, and I was on lean very heavy. I was fucked up all the time. It was bad. My friends couldn't even look at me the same. I was lost." So he was dealing with drug abuse in 2013. This is something that's kind of been one of his demons going through, I guess, his journey. I think he passed away, I believe, at 26. Yeah, he died at 26. So very young, very talented, very respected. But it seemed like he dealt with his demons and dealt with his issues through drug use and through drug abuse. So when you see these three combinations together, especially like you said, fentanyl being the death of Prince, being the death of Mac Miller, I think it may have caused some, may have been a part of the death of Michael Jackson too, if I'm not mistaken. If you see like that, if you see a drug overdose, you could pretty much guarantee fentanyl has something to do with it. Now, how it's so easily got out here amongst the streets and amongst our youth, and marijuana is still illegal in most of the 50 states in America, is beyond me. It being a plant. And I know a lot of people roasted us for me saying marijuana is a plant. Well, marijuana remains. Let me put the remains in there. Right. For the motherfuckers that are real tedious. Remains a plant. Right. As opposed to being chemicalized and broken down into something much more severe and harmful to the people. Right. You know what I mean? It still remains natural in its state. So, yeah, man, I don't know. They got a lot of explaining to do, man, because this is hitting a lot of the neighborhoods outside of the hood. Say, man, what do you think about Mac Miller being in a praying position? I want to ask you about that, because you said, man, you kind of put your spin on it, and you think maybe that it was that he did this intentionally, even though they're ruling this an accidental overdose. I don't mean to piss anybody off. This is the Uncensored Truth podcast. Right. And I'm not meaning to poke anybody, but this is just my honest opinion. They said it was an accidental overdose, and okay, people don't think that he would do something like this because he talked out against drug abuse and said how bad it was and he would look like a loser if this ever would happen. But the end result and the reality of the situation is he died from drug overdose. He had a drug dependency and he was very depressed about certain things. He talked about it in 2013. He was in a bad state. Depression is easily written all over that. You don't have to say it to see it. Facts. And we seen the breakup, real public breakup, with his girlfriend at the time, Ariana Grande, and they were really in love. We all know how breakups can happen, and he's on everywhere. Then he drops his album, and he's getting trolled and this and that, and dealing with drug dependency already, and dealing with depression already, going back into it. Him taking all those drugs and then praying almost seems to me like he is begging for a way out. And I don't know if that meant like a way out of just all of this or a way out of life in general. I'm not saying he was the type of person to be suicidal. I don't know this brother like that. I'm not going to act like I knew his music like that. I knew he was very talented. I heard a lot of his features. Didn't know his music like that, but he was a great artist. But why isn't it fair to say that he might have killed himself in the situation? Depression and all of that. Why can't it lead to that? You said fentanyl, cocaine, and what else was in the system? Alcohol? Alcohol. Come on, man. I drink enough alcohol. I'm dying.
I take enough fentanyl, I am dying. Oh, ethanol, I'm dying. You combine them three, you might as well stamp your way on to the next life.
Right. I mean, how common is it for people to actually, use these cocktails, and it's widespread promoted, in hip hop, and people always talk about cocaine and all these different drugs being used in Hollywood. It's pretty much, and the reason why we can actually absolutely say this with certainty, not just because of the death, because a lot of these rappers actually rap about this type of stuff.
They glorify it.
Yeah.
All day long.
Facts. And when you was even going vocal, the first unofficial episode pretty much of the Uncensored Truth podcast on Future. Mm-hmm. You went in on him, and that was an epic classic video where you pretty much went in on Future for his widespread promotion. I think the drug Molly at the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, that started Vile Hip Hop News. That started that conversation was definitely. And they did a good job of getting rid of that video. We all remember those days, man.
I don't know what happened to that.
We know what happened to that.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. We know what happened to that. But I mean, it's the truth. My son is 10 years old right now. He loves Meek Mill, right? Mm-hmm. Loves Meek Mill. And I love the fact that he listens to different artists. He loves Kendrick Lamar, but then my son will listen to Slick Rick, and then he has Nas. Dope. His variety of music is exceptional. And I let him kind of listen to everything, curses and all, because I'd rather him hear it under me than hear it out here amongst these motherfuckers that's going to say it anyway and going to do it anyway. So I got to keep him protected as much as 2018 allows parents to keep their kids protected. Mm-hmm. That being said, he loves the song Liddy with Tory Lanez.
That's it. Yeah.
And he knows the words. He's spitting it. It's dope. But he said, I pop a pill just to stab. I pop the and he doesn't know what he's saying. But I'm driving and I'm so conscious of it. And subconsciously, I got to check my son early. Like, nah, J-Rock, that ain't where to go. You saying it, but just understand what you're saying. And now Meek Mill's at a different point of his life. This is where he was then. And now he had to deal with some things and listen to Meek Mill now.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Not that it's funny, but it's the same thing. I hear it's the song that's on the radio where the guy says, I take prescriptions to make me feel okay. I don't know if that's Post Malone.
I don't know.
But what people will tell me, how you doing? Not know that in the comments, but kids are actually singing this. Yeah,
it sounds like a nursery rhyme.
Right. So it's this is deeper than I don't see it getting any better before it gets way worse, to be honest with you.
Well, I like that some of the artists now, even the ones that made a mistake, are very vocal and outspoken on the dangers of drug use and opiate use, and even the ones that may still be dealing with issues of addiction, they speak out about it. You don't see Lil Wayne. He may rap about it, and he's rapped about it even in his new album, but he's not out here telling kids to do this, to drink this. You can obviously see that Lil Wayne has an issue that he's dealing with. Right. And it's hard as a fan and as someone who loves Lil Wayne and watches him, if you're a fan of his, to see him go through this, but he's not glorifying it. A lot of these youngsters are glorifying it. Mm-hmm. And is it the labels in their ear? What's in their ear? Is it just the culture in general? People got to get to them because you got generations younger than them even listening to their music. So these 18 and 19-year-olds who know shit about life are influencing 9 and 10-year-olds. We gotta watch.
The thing is, man, what's like you said, we gotta watch it. It's dangerous because these rappers now are like walking Billboard. So if you got all these companies who's willing to invest, Nike, Reebok, or whatever, by the way, Cardi B just signed a deal with Reebok. That means that these people are influential. This is why these big companies, are attaching themselves so they can sell products with them. That's the same thing if they're promoting lean, they're promoting pills, whatever they're promoting, tobacco use, you know what I mean? Kids are going to hear this and want to mimic them. So they got a responsibility in their music. Because the whole thing with the Arab situation, I heard somebody say, they was like, these rappers don't only go on, platforms and blogs to talk about different things. They go on, they say it in their music a lot too. So so it's pretty crazy, man. Hip hop is really got a bad name at this point. So hopefully we can clean this thing up, man.
Bad name and a great name because it's so popular. It's like no other. We selling out stadiums across the world. This wasn't like this in the 90s. And I watch Hip Hop Revolution now a lot on Netflix. I'm really into it. It reminds me of like a visual hip hop encyclopedia. Okay. It's real dope. It takes you from the West Coast to the East Coast to the beginning. Like they were talking about Bambaataa, your boy Bambaataa. And they brought the Zulu Nation out. And then they were talking about the West Coast and how they got to the rise. And now I'm into the 90s. And the 90s is like, okay, this made me remember, okay, this is where I really remember hip hop. When you seen the Biggies come out, and then you seen the Tupacs come out when he was in with I forgot the Humpty Dumpty when he was with all
I forget Digital Underground.
Yeah. And he started with them, and then he broke out into Tupac, and then we see Nas come out with the Illmatic, and I'm just like, wow, this is where I really came out. Yeah, I remember the Tribe Called Quest, and I remember the Rakims, but this in the 90s is where I really remember hip hop. And it's like, man, they were talking about drug use and not drug use, but drug selling and the hustling. and things like this. And this motivated me on another level because we weren't necessarily involved in that, even though they painted a picture and put us there, into the hustling mentality though.
Right.
Never wanted a job, never wanting to deal with that, never wanted to do this. So although it had its kind of negative connotation to it, it also put a hustler mentality in us that they can't take away from us, man.
Facts.
Not like it is today.
Yeah, yeah.